The question of whether Donald Trump's policies strengthened or weakened the U.S. economy remains fiercely debated. From historic tax cuts to unprecedented deficits, trade wars to pandemic shocks, this analysis examines the data, policies, and long-term impacts of Trump's economic legacy. Donald Trump entered office in 2017 with a promise to revitalize the economy.
Fellow Americans and people of the world, thank you.
Pre-pandemic, unemployment dropped to a 50-year low of 3.5% in 2019, and the S&P 500 rose by 70% during his term. However, critics argue much of this growth extended trends from the Obama era. A 2019 Congressional Research Service report found that Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act boosted GDP growth by 0.3% annually, but disproportionately benefited corporations and high-income earners. Wage growth for middle-class workers remained modest at 2.9%, lagging behind late Obama-era gains. Trump's trade policies, particularly tariffs on $360 billion of Chinese goods, aimed to protect U.S. industries. However, studies show these measures backfired. The trade partnership estimated 300,000 U.S. jobs lost due to tariffs, with farmers bearing the brunt. The U.S. government spent $28 billion to compensate farmers for lost exports. Meanwhile, businesses and consumers faced higher costs. A 2019 study by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found tariffs cost the average U.S. household $831 annually. The COVID-19 pandemic delivered a catastrophic blow to the economy. Unemployment spiked to 14.7% in April 2020, erasing 140 years of job gains in 1 month. The $2.2 trillion CARES Act provided critical relief, but implementation faced scrutiny. Reports revealed that $500 million in Paycheck Protection Program loans went to large, financially stable companies, including firms linked to Trump donors. Meanwhile, small businesses and low-income workers struggled to access aid. Trump's tenure saw the national debt rise by $7.8 trillion, driven by tax cuts and pandemic spending. The deficit reached a record $3.1 trillion in 2020, dwarfing previous crises. Economists warned such debt levels could constrain future policy options and fuel inflation. A 2021 CBO report warned that sustained deficits could reduce GDP growth by 0.3% annually over the next decade, limiting investments in infrastructure and social programs. While stock markets soared, wage stagnation and inequality persisted. The top 10% of households captured 84% of stock market gains during Trump's term. Meanwhile, 40% of U.S. adults struggled to cover a $400 emergency expense. Trump's deregulation agenda, including rollbacks of overtime pay rules and environmental protections, drew praise from corporations, but criticism from labor advocates. The EPI estimated that workers lost $1.6 billion annually due to overtime policy changes. Trump's economic policies left a mixed legacy. Pre-pandemic growth and deregulation energized markets, but deficits, trade disruptions, and pandemic mismanagement created vulnerabilities. President Biden inherited an economy with 9.3 million fewer jobs than pre-COVID levels, alongside surging debt. The IMF credits Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan with accelerating recovery, but warns that long-term challenges, including automation, climate change, and global competition, require bipartisan solutions. Economics is rarely black and white. Trump's policies delivered short-term gains for some, but exacerbated systemic risks. As the U.S. faces inflation, climate crises, and technological disruption, the path forward demands evidence-based strategies, not partisan rhetoric.